Changing your ringtone. I was just wondering. Lou, these are things that pop in my head.
Now. We haven't even started, and you're starting already.
Right in my head. It popped.
You need to get it under control there, Mr. Pittsburgh.
Waxed and bleached.
It's
You're going to do it.
Mr. Pittsburgh.
Hey, I ain't doing that. Oh.
You should be Mr. Pittsburgh.
Mr. Pittsburgh.
And
I got promoted.
But you don't have to do the Pittsburgh accent.
No,
just be Mr. Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. What?
There's that look we were talking about. That Lily does.
My look?
Mm-hmm.
I have a look?
Oh, yeah.
Lily's got the look. Lily's got the look. No. Showing off to be cooking. Lily's book.
What? You have a book?
What's that song with
What's Roxette?
No. There is that's right. There is two. You got the look from around the same era.
Yeah.
You've
What's
got
the other
look.
one?
That's the one with Sheena Easton.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the dream we all dream of.
of.
Boy versus girl in the World Series of Love.
No, it's true.
Okay. In case you think that you just walked in the middle of a conversation.
You did.
You did. So mind your own damn business.
Are we on? Yeah, we are.
Oh, we're on.
Oh, there it is.
Look at that. Wow.
Found it.
All right. Are you guys ready to do something tonight? We're going to have a mix it up a little bit, doing something a little bit different. Wow. And boom goes the dynamite. That just
Bang goes the nitro.
phlegm, 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 phlegm,
Wonderful
phlegm,
phlegm.
phlegm,
Wonderful
phlegm.
phlegm.
I'm going home.
I'll have the eggs, bacon, phlegm, phlegm, spam, and phlegm.
That's enough. That's enough. Why does everything you have here have phlegm? Oh, sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody's going to start yelling at us, to dummy up or
Hey,
something.
stop that.
Stifle.
Dummy up.
Stifle.
Straighten up and fly right and all that good shit. Okay, here we go, guys. Check. Can everybody hear me?
I don't know.
We definitely can't hear. Now we can hear.
Oh, there you go.
Now we've got Lily.
That's lovely.
Lily v. Lillenheimer.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Okay, we got some levels. Level up.
Right.
Kevin, level up.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Lily, level up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Si.
Academia.
Ooh. I love it when you speak Swahili.
I did not make any clicking sounds. Thank you very much.
Okay, enough.
Sorry.
That's what it is.
Sorry about that.
Enough token.
Oh.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so you guys ready?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There we go. In 5, 4, 3. People are always going to find something to complain about, right? Sometimes I think that complaining is truly the civilized world's contribution to history. But one of the things we're talking about is this situation with all the social media blasting of Spotify that is going on right now. Seen several artists posting things on social media, showing their Spotify stats, and with really kind of like snarky comments about, 0.0000 whatever that they're making. So on this week's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus podcast, we're going to get to the bottom of the whole Spotify controversy and explain once and for all what's really going on. Get ready to rock out with your talk out. It's the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Moms and dads, boys boys and girls and children of all ages, welcome back. It is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. I am your ringmaster, if you will, for this little thing we do once a week where we get together, we talk about music. Mainly, we do our best to completely make fun of it and lampoon it and make it look stupid. I mean, in the process, hopefully, we get to make ourselves look stupid as well, because that is what keeps you kids out there in podcast land coming. Just keeps you coming.
Okay.
So, anyways, we're going to have a good time tonight. We are talking about Spotify, as I mentioned in the intro. So we're going to be getting into that in a few minutes here. First of all, we need to do a little bit of what they call housekeeping, right? And the first thing I need to do is mention Wolf's Customs, and I had his card. There he is. Wolf's Customs .online. Why am I telling you about that? Because, you know, if you want to stand out in this business, sometimes you need like a solid brand, like your thing. Like, you know, Steve Vai has the guitar with the vines, you know, all over it. You know, different guys, stuff like that. So what you need to do is you need to get a hold of Chris Thunderwolf Dodson at wolfscustoms.online, and he can do you up right with your musical instrument in terms of turning it into like a piece of art, something that's really striking to look at and goes with your vibe for whatever kind of music it is that you're doing. So this is like a really awesome thing that they do. They do great work, from Hollow Flash to all kind of really cool things. So check them out at wolfscustoms.online. Shout out to rockrageradio.com. Download the app, rockrageradio.com. You can hear all kind of great programming. In fact, lots of views out there in the world right now is listening to us on Rock Rage Radio. It is an app you download, and you get great music content 24/7, including the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, as well as
Hot Licks with Lily Six with me.
Yes,
Free, and it's free.
Yes, and it's totally free. You just download the app. Yeah, it's cheaper than than
Anything.
anything, really.
Yeah.
It's like cheaper than air.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's great. So that doesn't mean cheap. This is the case. You know, say if it's cheap, it's not good. If it's
Right.
good-
Hey,
No. This is cheap and good. This is one of them rare things, you know. Anyway,
Like me.
cheap and good. Lily's cheap and good. I'm cheap and good too. What are you talking about, Loudini?
Whoa.
So, oh yes, LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com. Go there, as well as LouLombardiMusic.com. There's all kind of cool stuff you can get involved. You can get involved with our community on Facebook. It's a private community where we just get really excited about music and share cool videos and songs. And maybe you hear about some bands you never heard of before, and maybe you know, get reminded of some great song you'd forgotten about. Just run some cool topics, some fun discussion, and you can find that there, as well as our complete, total, like just intergalactically perfect.
Interlactically?
Interlactically.
Is that a word?
Yes.
Interlactatingly?
Yeah, very lactic.
Wow.
It's lactatingly good.
Oh
Wow.
my God, that's so gross.
It's lactatious.
Lactatious,
There are a
everybody.
few things that make me want to gag, and that's one
There's
of
a
them.
few people out
So-
there grabbing the dictionary right
but
now.
you get our complete YouTube archives there as well, and a bunch of fun stuff. So check that out, LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com. All right, so as I mentioned, and then maybe you heard, or maybe you weren't paying attention, or maybe you're just waiting for us to get to the topic. We're going to wait a little bit longer because we'd love to introduce with the band tonight.
Yeah.
All right, on lead smartass, Mr. Pittsburgh himself. What's up, Mr. Pittsburgh?
Hey, everybody.
Pittsburgh Kevin, Mr.
I'm
Pittsburgh.
here.
And, of course, the lovely and the
Call me
talented-
Mr. Pittsburgh.
Oh boy.
The lovely and the talented on the lead cans is Lily V6.
What's up?
Wow.
So there we are, everybody. This is going to be good. We're going to have a good time tonight, getting into this topic here of Spotify. So you guys feeling like maybe you're ready? Do we have any folks watching yet?
We have Michael Goltz and Anthony Rocky.
Hey, guys.
Rocky for cool, Rocky.
Wow.
So let me. I don't know if I can.
What you doing over there?
quieter.
What you doing over there?
Okay, if that's too loud, I can turn it off. But okay, so let's start here. I think Lily has some pages she typed up.
I
always comes prepared.
always write a report
Yeah, you
just so I have all the information,
so
so I don't have to get on my phone so much.
Ah.
This podcast would be good if people weren't on their cell phones the whole time.
Yeah. Because, I have to look at it to read everybody's comments, but no big deal.
We have to have a, So, she's not, look, she's not, she's on there, she's looking at porn, okay? She's not texting her friends. She's doing important stuff.
Like, honestly, we need to go.
Is it midget porn?
No, I'm not into that.
Yay! I think I'm gonna.
That's a little weird for me.
Sorry.
You think you're gonna what?
I can't tell you.
Do
Do it. Oh,
boy.
I thought you were gonna go.
Bones Magoo, everyone. Thank
Hey,
you,
Bones.
Hey, Bones. All right, so even hey Bones, are any of your records on Spotify? All right, That's what I thought. Okay, so Lily V6 has prepared her report for this week.
Yeah.
So I want the entire audience to please sit down. Yes, you in the back. Michael Goltz, put the cigar down and listen. Go ahead.
I was just going to do sort of a little history on Spotify.
I love it.
All right.
I love histories on Spotify.
Who doesn't?
There's Spotific history.
Just to preface this whole thing, I have Spotify. It's on my phone.
Yeah.
I never use it.
Oh.
I don't know how to use it. I'm more of a Bandcamp or buy your CD kind of deal, so that's
Bandcamp.
just me. I'm kind of old school.
Do you know what Bandcamp is? Mr. Pittsburgh, I do not believe does not understand what Bandcamp is. So we will
it
discuss
involves
it.
a flute.
Okay.
I'm just.
So go ahead.
I'm going to try to be helpful, but I did some research. So Spotify is a digital music podcast and video service that gives you access to millions of songs and other content from creators all over the world. It was founded in 2006 by Daniel Ek and Martin Lorentzen. It is the world's largest music streaming provider with over 381 monthly active users, including 172 million paying subscribers as of September 2021. It offers digital copyright restricted recorded music and podcasts, including more than 70 million songs from record labels and media companies. As a freemium service, basic features are free with advertisements and limited control, with additional features such as offline listening and commercial-free listening. They're offered via paid subscriptions. It's currently available in 180 plus countries. Unlike physical or download sales, which pay artists a fixed price per song or album sold, Spotify pays royalties based on the number of artist streams as a proportion of total songs streamed. And right now, according to the New York Times, approximately 13,000 of 7 million artists on Spotify generated $50,000 or more payments in 2020. That's what I have on history.
Wow.
Just think of Spotify, and I'm going to get deeper into this a little bit later. Just for a moment, this is not exactly right because there's some huge differences between what Spotify and Netflix is doing, for instance. But think of it as a kind of Netflix for music, but no flicks, just the net,
Just the net part.
net audio,
Nothing but net.
nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
Okay, so let's talk about really briefly what the controversy actually is before we get into because I want to talk about how this how this monkey got out of the cage and how we're not ever going to get it back in. But let's set the stage here. What's going on is this service that is like a Netflix for music. Imagine if, say, Steven Spielberg has a movie on Netflix, and he was and Netflix was the only way anybody could ever see that movie.
Okay.
Pretty much. There might be a couple other things, but like Netflix is the absolute number one way you really want to see this movie.
Yes.
Okay. And he wants people to see it because he can get paid every time somebody watches it. He can get some money.
Right.
Okay. But imagine if they were only going to give him like 1/300th of a cent.
That's a tiny little
Steven
fraction.
Spielberg could not keep making Jaws and Close Encounters and all these. He couldn't. It would be Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. Would never. He couldn't do stuff like that because it just would not. It just would not be able to. Wouldn't be a sustainable business model. Okay, so this is what the bitch about Spotify is with artists. It's like it'd be like if Steven Spielberg put a movie on Netflix and was only getting like a movie like Jaws. He got $10,000 for it a year. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, what? You know? So that's kind of what artists are complaining about. We're like, Spotify is unfair in the way that it pays its artists. And then they introduced, to sort of like throw dirt in the wound, they introduced like a, not only do they are charging for your subscription, they introduced a pay thing for like record labels and musicians that want to get their music kind of like at the top of the list in some way. I apologize, I don't know the exact mechanism of how that happens, but somehow that your song or album can get like in front of other people.
Almost like a payola kind of
Yeah.
thing. Right?
Yeah.
And then and they had some other kind of advertising too, where your album would show up first. You know, when somebody first opened the app, it would be like like on the front page.
Right.
So and so that's a little that, you know, that's a kind of, so taking something that's already bad and sort of rubbing it in the artist's nose and making them. So it's not like payola. It's what it's becoming is pay to play.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Which is artist's favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it's not insulting enough as a musician to like go out and say, well, look, we can't pay you. You have to work for the door or whatever. Okay, you know, and then that's on you to grow a fan base. Blah 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 blah. But when they say no, you have to pay us to play
Play
here.
at our place. Yeah.
Oof, that's my least favorite thing about stuff like that. Because then, how can they grow as a band?
Exactly. So it's something to, you know. So that is, so it's like that kind of like really nasty kind of business model, yeah. So they and they are so big because of this discovered playlist. Now, if you don't know what this is, what Spotify does for you is they've got a Discover Weekly, Discover, and even a Discover Daily now playlist that pops up for you when you open it based on the tracks that you like. So it'll, you know, it uses the algorithm, and I have to give the devil his due. The algorithm is pretty freaking good because I have discovered so many awesome bands just because it popped up on that Discover Weekly, Discover Daily. Sorry, I have. It's just like, oh my God, who is this band? And, you know, fell in love with them. So you know, they somehow, I don't know, it's some kind of, you know, programming magic. I don't know what happens in there. Wires and ones and zeros. I don't know what's happening. But whatever they did, they got it right. And that actually works really, really well. Especially, now some of you will say, I tried it. Yeah, you can't like try it for like, it gets, in other words, it gets smarter
As you go.
As you go.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for that, like the first week you have it, yeah, you have to kind of build a relationship with Spotify as you go. And the more you like stuff and everything, the more that it hones that and hones it and hones it. And you give it some time, you're going to come up with some really, really cool playlists.
It's like more and more like a relationship every time you talk about it. It's hurting my brain.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, so that aspect of it is really, really awesome for the fan, for the music listener. And the other thing that they did was before Spotify, there was Kazaa and those things that were like, well, they weren't legal at all.
Right.
No artists were getting they're getting zero from that, and that's how people were doing it. And they remember you had those little MP3. The first one was the iPod, but then there was all these MP3
players. I remember those.
And I've got a couple in drawers laying around as well. I can get 1,000 songs on something the size of a dime,
Until you lose it.
Yeah.
So
like,
yeah,
damn it.
I mean, yeah. But anyways, so that's what people were doing, and Spotify pulled it all together. Like the Spotify just pulled all the aspects of the streaming and the pirating and everything together, and made it easier than doing that, because they had a player. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing. So it wasn't like, you download it on the computer and you need to drag it. There's none of that.
Right.
They had the player.
right
The whole
there.
thing was right there.
Yeah.
It would play. You could turn the volume up and down. You could fast forward, rewind, skip songs, etc., etc. And then they started creating the algorithm, as like I said. So they made it go like it's not really worth it to pirate this stuff, because
Right, 'cause it's
Spotify
right there.
makes it so much easier. So for a couple bucks a month, this is just a lot easier to do, and I can still do what I want, and it's even better. And then there is the Discover playlist. So they really kind of put the rest of that to bed. The way they did it, they did it even better than Apple just the way they put it all together. In any case, so this is why it is so attractive to consumers, and so hated by, well, not hated, but that's not the right word, but sort of like a kind of like point of contention. Let's put it that way with artists. So that's the framework here. Is there something you want to add, Lily? I see you looking at your things. You have
No,
some?
I was just reading through as you're talking.
Okay.
I guess I sort of wanted to mention that when it first came out, people were still a little skeptical of it because it still seemed like it was doing something wrong, but it really wasn't.
I remember that
yeah.
too. People were like, no, people thought that was stealing. They didn't.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
couldn't
So used to
differentiate.
Napster and Kazaa and all that stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah.
they're like,
But it was totally legit, and the artists still get paid. Not much, but they still do. So you were able to do this without consequence.
Yeah,
later on.
absolutely. And in the beginning, there was, so some artists gravitated towards it. I think artists that were like, probably artists from the 90s through current artists they gravitated towards it very quickly. The 80s and the classic rock era artists were a little bit slower to get on board with it.
Yeah, wasn't AC/DC like not about it at all? They were like,
Until pretty recently.
Yeah.
They were one of the last holds out. Led Zeppelin was, Metallica was, of course. The Beatles were. When the Beatles went to streaming, it was like a huge story.
oh
right?
yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah,
on
they weren't.
anything.
No, they
Like
weren't. They were
nothing.
nowhere. The Rolling Stones were like they took a while before they would come. But when the Beatles did it, it was like they did it with much fanfare. Like they had all kind. They had a big marketing campaign and everything, and it was really awesome to be able to listen to every one of those
Exactly.
frickin' records.
Yeah.
Just stream. It was like really cool. For this generation of people that like had to go to the records to get your mom, you had to save your allowance. Let's start back there. You had to save your allowance. Then you had to find a time when you could tuck your mom and to take you to the mall,
Hills.
right.
Hills,
Or Hills.
or whatever, Kmart, to get that album that you want. And so it was like something that was like hard to get, and like people that had big album collections, you were like, wow, man, you suck. Like you must be some privileged little brat or something.
Get all these.
But and then there were the guys who were like 40 and living in their mom's basement. They had a lot of albums, but in any case, no, but
Still
seriously,
asking their mom to take them to Kmart.
so you see, so this was like, music was like really was like when you got a record, you was like,
Yeah, that was
wow,
something,
you really you cherish, you listen to that thing over and over and over, even if it wasn't that good.
Right.
You know,
Well, I paid for it.
I paid for it, and I'm going to listen to it. Damn it! There aren't very many records that I bought that I didn't really get into because they were hard to get. So then we fast forward to 2000. What is it? 8, 9, something like that. It comes online, something like that. I don't remember the exact date. 6. And all of a sudden, boom! You have it at your fingertips. Anything you want to listen to. So there's a price to be paid for that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Do you remember like your first experience, Mr. Pittsburgh, with discovering that you could listen to music online versus having to?
Yeah, but well, because I have this huge CD collection, and I'm like, I'm staunch. I'm like, I've got all my CDs, blah blah blah. Until I downloaded Spotify, and I'm like, oh, I want to hear this song, but I don't want to dig it out of my CD collection and put it in the
Just makes it
CD
easier.
player. Fast forward to that song on the CD, instead just go, and there it is. There's Michael Stanley Band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it's Michael Stanley Band on Spotify.
Yes.
That was your Spotify. That was your streaming moment where you went, the heavens opened and you went, oh.
Yeah, because we're the same age, and we'll talk about songs. Sometimes, like after the podcast, we'll listen to music, and I'll be like, "Oh man, I forgot about that song."
Yeah.
But a song will stick in my crawl, and I'll think about it. And I'm like, "Oh, Katrina and the Waves. Do you want crying?" Boom! There it is.
You should have a soundtrack for this.
Red
Yeah,
wine
right.
and whiskey.
Red Wine and Whiskey. Remember that night you played it for me?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That was such an awesome song. But in any case, for me, it was before Spotify. It was probably in the Kazaa. There was LimeWire.
Oh yeah.
Kazaa.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There's a
Of
couple-
course,
I forgot about
original Napster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them. There was a handful of them like that. And I actually know somebody that downloaded so much that it alerted the cable company, and he got a letter in the, like a cease and desist
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
letter.
crazy.
And, like if you continue, you get a $25,000 fine.
What?
And that was, it was just somebody I knew, but I because I didn't download that much. I didn't have that was like that's a lot of freaking downloading. Yeah. But I was like, there was always like it was the same thing. Like I discovered that service, and I just started like typing in songs that I like, almost like. Did I dream that song? It's been so long
Exactly.
since I heard it, And I was like, oh my God, they have that song. Welcome to the Boomtown by Dave and David
Yeah,
was
Dave
one
and
was
Dave,
one of those like
Yep.
Call to Your Heart by Jafria. These are songs I like hadn't heard in like so long. And so I just remember like being like giddy with like, but they were not, because they weren't, it was a freebie thing, and people were just, there was file sharing is what it was called.
Peer to peer. Yeah.
Yeah, peer-to-peer file sharing, that if somebody walked away and turned their computer off, you could be partially through the
Halfway
download.
through and
Yeah, and it just stops, So that was my first experience with it, and I was like, man, I knew right then, I'm like, this is going to be big. Like, sooner or later, there's going to be legal thing. There are people you're going to pay for. I mean, I just saw it immediately. Like, somebody's going to see this as a business. Like, it's not going to take too much longer. And they're and Spotify, by the way, is not the only. The Apple streaming actually predates Spotify.
Right.
And there's tons. Of course, Amazon has its own music thing, and like, there's tons of them actually out there. And it's funny that this one company gets all the attention over this.
Because of the biggest one.
Yes, and it is because of the way they do their algorithm. But so Spotify comes online, and it is like the classic rock artists are slow to kind of get to it. You know what I mean? It's more for like newer artists, and then like maybe bands for bands from like the 90s, some of those guys, but like they're really like 80s stuff. So they really dragged their feet because they were looking at it. Okay, this is the boomer viewpoint. Okay, this is the view. This is what and it's so funny because the boomer viewpoint traveled onto, what was the next one? Generation X.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Traveled into Generation X. That we both have this like kind of rock and roll. It's the rock and roll. I call it the rock and roll fantasy. You know what I mean? It's like the song "We Were Just Another Band Out of Boston."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that whole story of like, we're just a band, and we're like we'll practice in the street, and we'll like, we stay up all night and we perfect our music, and then some A&R guy just happened to discover us, and we got in the studio, and it was scary, but we did it. We put out a big record, and now we're big rock stars. Yeah! And that is what the model was. Starting kind of like in the 60s through the 70s, 80s, and maybe the first part of the 90s. So that's kind of what people were. That's that boomer Generation X viewpoint of the music business. And that's what most people think the music business is. That is not. That completely evaporated. Well, it began to evaporate when the internet music happened. Now, the first thing that happens is, you guys remember something? Now, are you old enough to remember dial-up, Lily?
Yes.
Remember dial-up?
I am. I didn't even have a computer until I was in my 20s.
So some of you guys don't remember dial-up, but dial-up, you had to put do these kids even know what a phone is? A home? They probably don't even know a landline.
No.
You had a landline phone. Okay, I'm not going to give you the whole freaking like technology, okay? But that's what connected you to the internet, and you literally had to make a phone call to do it.
Right.
Okay. And so you can imagine it was slow as all get out.
And God forbid your mom needed to make a call.
Yeah.
Get off the internet! I gotta call your Aunt Doris.
Yeah.
So, but eventually what happened was high speed happened, which is basically connecting through cable. And when that happened, and then around the same time, right before high speed became like the dominant way of connecting the internet, somebody invented a compressed file format called MP3. And the MP3 is really the for whom the bell tolls. That's the bell that's
it.
ringing for the music business when MP3 happens, because MP3 allows you to compress files, but in a way that when you play them back, they still sound pretty good. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like a good FM station kind of quality. Okay, it's not 100% true audio, but it's pretty good. Most people, for the sound system you're listening to, will completely still enjoy the music. And when this happens, like this is the dam that's breaking, and we're all trying to put the fingers in. That changes everything. Now I must tell you guys that a couple of years before the Napster thing happened and Metallica and all that.
Yep,
so that was kind of late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A couple years before that, I was at a music industry event in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And it was the Millennium Music Festival, and they had different symposiums you could go and listen to. Mm-hmm. And so, like, me and my buddy, I was real tight with our drummer, Dave. And so, like, there was a bunch of them, so we, like, alternated. You picked one, I picked one. So Dave was really into computers. He was, like, nerdy and stuff like that. And there was this thing about computers and listening to music over the computer with some new kind of program or something. I didn't know what it was going to be. So he was all about it. He said, we got to go this. He says, I read about this in Wired or something. And it was like, this is like, I'm telling you, we got to go hear these guys. So I want to listen. And so we go to this thing, and it's this room. Just like 6 people, maybe. There might have been 4 listening to these 2 guys talk. And they were like the typical nerd. Like I think even the one guy was fat and his t-shirt didn't even go all the way down. You know what I mean?
I feel like this is my ex-husband you're talking about.
Comic book man.
And they're blabbing on about file compression and beats per second and 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 I'm just like losing. I'm just like, okay, this is really stupid. But they downloaded a song in front of us. With this thing that they called MP3.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it was still kind of slow, but it went faster than, yeah. And so they downloaded an MP3 file and played the music back, and I could tell right then, like afterwards Dave and I were talking about, we're like, wow, this is really going to change things if these guys can ever get this off the ground, because at the point these were just a couple of nerds that had come up with it, and they were going around trying to get people interested in it. And a couple of years, wasn't a year or so later, boom, Napster comes online, and the rest, as they say, was history. Although you may not know the history, really quick, guys. When this happened, as I said, most of it was illegal, and what ended up happening was what brought it to the attention of everybody, and trying to get some legal way of doing this together, was the band Metallica sued a company called Napster, a download file sharing service called Napster, and it was big news. This is what we were doing before people started flying planes into buildings in New York City.
That was the big news, yeah.
That was the stuff that was in the news.
End of the world. People stealing music.
So that sets the stage for why Spotify, kind of in the history of technology and entertainment together. Spotify is like in a pretty important chapter. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, but they pay artists shit. Like, there's a campaign. I was reading an LA Times article. There's a campaign called like "All We Want Is a Penny" or something like that, and they're just literally these poor guys are just trying to get a penny per download, which you might say, well, like, what's wrong with that? Here's what's wrong with that. If you add up all the subscribers and what they're paying, and all the royalties that Spotify pays out, Spotify is never in the black. Yeah. They have never made money. Yeah, they haven't made any money.
Right.
So that has been their kind of like, hey, we're not making money either. Now, Daniel Ek, who's the CEO of Spotify, is a multi-billionaire, but he did not make any money with Spotify. He's not. This is a different kind of project, I think, for him. So they don't make it. So they don't make any money, and so it's a little copacetic for a while, and then the man we all know and love, our sort of forebearer in the podcasting world, Joe Rogan, gets paid $100 million by Spotify, who's not making any money. They can't pay any artists.
Right.
But they can spend $100 million to buy Joe Rogan. Now, I am not it's just nothing against Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan. He's great. I love his podcast. But as Led Zeppelin might say, and it makes you wonder. So think about it this way. Artists see this as insult to injury.
Right.
Because they're like, well, wait a minute. I signed on to this Spotify thing because it looks like you guys are into music and I'm into music, and you know that's what I'm doing, and like I kind of feel like, okay, well, I'll accept the 0.0000038 whatever, you know, but I see what you're doing here. You know, you're trying to grow something, and we don't know where it's going to go yet, so it felt kind of like together, and then Spotify's like, fuck you, we're doing podcasts. You know, and the artists are like, what the fuck?
Wait, what happened?
And there are artists that have been with Spotify like since the beginning, who really championed them. You know, and people that did that, got in and on the ground floor with them. You know, they were enthusiastic young musicians. You know, they were all about it, and it was working for them. But then Spotify also started cutting. This is really bad. They started cutting what they were paying. So it's dropped something like 60%.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, and then you add in what happened with this scamdemic a year and a half ago. You factor that in, and at that time, nobody could tour.
Yeah, they were getting their touring money.
You and I don't know. Did you? There's a guy. I don't want to say his name on the podcast. He was a guy who really, really liked, a musician from Pittsburgh. He ended up committing suicide. Like, so it was that bad. It was that hard on musicians, entertainers. And so some of these people were like, well, at least I'll have some Spotify. No,
not so much.
No music. No money.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty shitty. And who was it? I saw. You know who Stu Ham is?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw a post from him, and I saw another one from Pete Thorne. You know, Pete Thorne is both like, haha, look at my stupid Spotify returns. This is bullshit. You know, blah 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 blah. And then somebody had sent me a meme. Decrying this and how like. Daniel Ek is worth more than Paul McCartney, and like how terrible that is and stuff like that. So you can see where it just is a bad look for Spotify. However,
yes.
Is there anything you want to add?
No,
I know you have a
good,
bunch
you're
of notes. However, okay, this is a company, up until, we see now that they were holding back because what they're trying to do is like their eye is on growth, not profit right now. So they're still growing. We don't even know where Spotify is ultimately going to go. I have a prediction that I would probably bet money will happen, but I will mention that later.
Tell us your prediction, sir.
I will save that for a little bit later.
All right. Oh.
So artists are pissed off at that, but now let's think about this though.
Okay.
There's two guys that I have written down here, and you could probably find many others online. Damian Keys and Adam Ivy. Do you guys know who either one of those guys are?
No.
Damian Keys and Adam Ivy have been coaching young musicians on how to like leverage all these different platforms, Instagram, even TikTok, blah blah blah, to get their music out there and to grow a fan base. And they have entire courses on what to do with Spotify.
Oh.
And some of it involves making a little bit of money, but mainly they are teaching you to leverage Spotify for other things. And you got to be kind of clever, and you got to kind of be Johnny on the spot, and you got to be kind of diligent with it. It's not super like, there is some sort of, there'll be some labor involved in what you have to do. But they have some interesting thoughts on it. So they're not looking at it as like that's how I'm going to make my living at all. Spotify,
Right,
they're like,
right.
that's, come on. We're not even going to try that, but they are using it as like a tool in their belt, to show you how you can grow your music career. It's like just another tool. And there are also tons of programs on teaching artists how to actually get on. Like the key to Spotify is getting on the good playlists. So if you get on the really popular playlists, more people are going to hear you. So there's people out there that can like teach you ways to kind of like leapfrog your way around playlists to get on those. Did I hear a but?
I did say but I'm asking, are the artists going to want to do that kind of work to get their stuff out there?
Well, this is something I believe that a good record label is probably doing for their artists.
I'm talking about indie.
They're like indie, like not signed to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they are their own record label. Right.
Yeah.
Right. You have to do some work.
Which a lot don't want to do.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it gets overwhelming. And so if it gets too overwhelming, there is another option for you, and that is to work with an outsource partner. Like you can find people on Fiverr and other sites like that, Upwork and Brickyard, and there's a whole bunch of them, where you can find people that will do these types of things for you, that know how to do these types of things, that and you can outsource it, and it's cheaper than hiring some big marketing firm, but not nearly as labor intensive as you doing it on your own. So there's a way to so what a lot of artists who aren't signed, and that's what Lily meant when she said indie, what they're doing is they're kind of cobbling together their own teams of people because they don't have a but let's talk about record labels. Because some of them, there's been some very high-profile people, trying to give Spotify, a hard time. Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, though, has
She's
been
one of them,
the most
yeah.
vocal people about Spotify. Paul McCartney, as I mentioned earlier. So here's the problem. Somebody like Taylor Swift, when she was breaking in the early 2000s, right? That was still the era where you got signed, you put out a record.
Right.
What TV show did she win? She's a game show winner, is what she is, right?
Was she?
Yeah,
I don't recall. I'm sorry. One of those ones that the kids were on.
American Idol.
Something
Was it
like that.
I think she's
Idol?
American. I think she's American
Yeah.
Idol. So, and anyways, so she was the type of artist that when she put out a song, like people would show up with a dump truck in her house and just dump bags of cash on the front lawn.
And she's got a very extensive tours. Like her stage shows are ridiculous.
So she's
Thus her tickets are ridiculous.
She became like a big star, and in 2014 pulled her catalog off of Spotify. And so her argument was like, no, Spotify, I actually do more for your platform by my music being there. And you have to think about it, okay?
Yeah.
You guys remember shopping malls, right?
Yes.
And like there was all these like the Piercing Pagoda and Spencer's Gifts and
Right,
Walden
right.
Books and the pizza place and this and that. But there was always a big store on one end and a big store on the other.
Right,
Like
the
a
anchors.
Macy's
The
and a
anchors,
Kaufman's or something like
The
that.
anchor
right?
stores.
Those are the anchor stores. Okay? Artists like Taylor Swift on a service like Spotify are like the anchor stores. People sign up for Spotify because they want to be able to listen to Taylor Swift anytime they want to. And so what ends up happening is they do end up listening to other stuff because Spotify has another great feature that's like, it's what they call like you can build like a radio station around even like an actual just a song or an artist. It'll play Taylor Swift radio. And so it'll build a station around that, based on Taylor Swift and what you like. So it's very cool. But in any case, so she felt like she was worth more to them than they were to her. And she was a big rock star. And she was very public about it and really tried to shame them publicly. It didn't work. Because it's Spotify's too easy. It's too good. Like the app is a really good app. It's like I'm sorry. It's just really good. So and the algorithm's great. So that couldn't even do it. So what happened is a lot of artists, we were talking before we started, a lot of artists who had been holdouts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not good. I'm streaming. Right. Here's the guys you have to kind of like give the attaboy to, and that's Metallica, because they were completely against it, man. They took naps to court and all that kind of stuff like that, and they were like, they would never be on streaming. We're never going to be on streaming. We're never going to be on streaming. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they're on streaming.
You say, what happened?
Surprise.
And there were a lot of bands that were really big holdouts. Led Zeppelin took a long time. The Beatles, of course, that was a big, much fanfare when they came on. It seemed to me like R&B and hip hop artists were very quick to embrace the new technology. So kudos to them. Prince was on right away. People like that were like right there. And of course. This is a boon for indie bands, like really tiny, teeny, tiny little bands that either aren't signed to anybody or signed to just like a regional record label or something like that, for distribution. It was just like this was like really, really cool. And at the time, it paid better, in the earlier days.
And even now, though, they don't even care so much. They're not getting paid because they want the exposure. They're the
That
industry.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you get to see, it might be more worth it to you to show up repeatedly on some hot playlists, and not so much for the money, but because people are going to check you out.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, the money comes.
And then you can get that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And from then, it's a matter of looking at, as I mentioned, and I am not affiliated with Damien Keys or Adam Ivy at all. I just know who they are and that they talk about this stuff. And from there, you check in with somebody like that can show you, how that maybe there's another way of doing it.
Right.
But I do sympathize with these really big bands. And what it is, the problem is, going back to my original point, this boomer mentality. You know what I mean? People are going to buy my record. It's just, it was just a given, right?
That's what we grew up
Bob
with.
Seger put out an album. People bought it. He toured. You know what I mean? He took a break. Year and a half later, put out an album. He toured.
Right,
it just was a thing.
exactly.
You just did it.
Yeah.
Everybody made money. The
It was a
fans had a
formula.
good time. Everybody was loving it. And then these morons had to invent MP3.
Sons of bitches.
So we have this issue, but it's a great way to get your music heard if you're kind of unknown, it's also super convenient, even if if you're not getting on playlists and stuff like that, but to something if you want to quickly direct somebody to your song, just give them your Spotify link.
Right.
It's like a super easy way to just, so to kind of like, so you're not, just for the fact that you're not carrying CDs around. Mm-hmm. I had these promo packs I made for my band,
Right.
with really fancy boxes with all this added stuff and stickers and then the whole thing like that. I'm like, oh, that kid throw this in the garbage.
No, I'm still old school. I still want CDs.
Yeah, me too. I like that tangible hard copy.
I like
in
to
my
touch
hand,
it.
Yeah. You like,
Well, okay.
Oh my.
This brings me.
Wow.
Okay, so listen to
Two
me.
CDs at once,
Let me ask you
eh?
a question. Let me ask you guys a question.
Go ahead.
I'm ready.
How do you think people who had only heard music live, or how do you think musicians who were they were performing musicians when there was only live music, there was no recorded music other than sheet music, okay, and all of a sudden recorded music starts?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe they thought they were going to get fewer gigs because people can just listen to their recordings?
Good question.
I mean,
Maybe.
yeah.
They did. They thought it was the end of live music.
They're like, God.
This is
Wow.
the end of live music.
Nobody's gonna come see us.
Yet nobody's ever going to come see us
Pull out the
ever again.
Victrola.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Okay. No, wait a minute. This gets better. This gets better.
okay,
This gets better.
okay,
This gets better.
okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we find out through some miracle
Hallelujah.
that live music and recorded music
Yeah.
can exist side by side.
Wow.
Shut
And
up.
actually, they complement each other.
What?
That's crazy.
Right?
Crazy.
People hear people buy the record, they like the band, they go see them live. People go see them live, they like the band, they buy the record. It's a win-win.
Yes.
Nobody thought of that. It didn't
Yeah.
dawn on me. People were like, "Oh my God, over. The sky is falling. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So wait a minute.
Okay.
Now wait a minute. Wait. It's all about to go to shit again.
Oh, God, you're breaking my heart.
Radio.
Oh no.
Why is anybody going to buy my album when they can hear my song on the radio? This is terrible. Oh my God.
It's the end.
It's the end.
It's
Recorded
over.
music is over. You know, and so bands thought, well, the good news is the live bands saw an in here. They were like, well, we can do live radio broadcasts.
Oh, brilliant.
So so actually more gigs actually even ended up opening up for live music. And of course, radio became the best friend of the record. The record and the radio were like, they were like butt buddies, like,
Whoa.
Wow. Forever. You know, that's how you heard a song you put on the radio.
Sure.
Lily, right?
Yeah.
You were around when that was going on, right?
Yeah.
God, I'm 40. Yes. He thinks I'm 20.
You're a youngster.
So,
Well, that's got to be the end of it, right?
right, and that was it. That was it, but there was another problem.
What happened?
MTV.
Oh my
His video.
God.
No, the radio
who's
star.
gonna ever listen to the radio now because
Because-
they can watch it on TV.
Actually, I barely watch music videos. I'm not even gonna lie.
But that was the next
the
guy
controversy then.
falling Chicken Little moment. And then of course, as you can see where this is going, the internet, downloading, Spotify, and here we are. So this is not the end. This is just the next thing.
It's not the end, but can I say, anybody who's like 27 and younger who knows me, when I say I'm going to go buy the CD, say, I don't know why you would even buy a CD when you could just stream it. That makes me so mad when they say that. That's the only thing that annoys me
They
about
don't
that.
get it.
I
They
mean,
don't
no, they don't,
understand.
because they're kids, and I get it.
Sometimes I like to touch my CDs and hold them,
I do like to touch my CD.
kiss them.
I don't
what?
kiss them.
What? No.
I think that situation can be remedied with some marketing.
Agreed.
I think that so here is I just want to see how long I've been prattling on for almost the whole hour.
You've been prattling.
You've been doing good, though.
So this whole situation takes a crap, right? And you got people like Lily was just talking about that would say, well, I don't know why you would, when you can download it. So, and that is a good question. I sympathize with that. But here's what you have to do.
Yes.
And this is what musicians have been doing. This is why you guys, why we're brilliant, but we're stupid. What do people want? What do they really want?
Tell me what they want.
What do you really
What they
want,
really want.
Lily, when you put on that Iron Maiden record that you love? What do you want?
I want to go see them live is what I want to do. I don't know what you're trying
You're
to get
listening
at.
to the music, and
Yeah.
what's happening to you as you're listening to the music?
I'm losing myself in it.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're having an experience.
Yeah.
That is what people crave, is an experience. So what we have to do as musicians is we've got to find different ways to give people that experience, maybe something more immersive, or maybe people love to buy stuff. My house is full of shit. Is your house full of shit?
I have a
Pittsburgh
whole
Kevin,
room
is your
full
house
of
full of shit?
So much shit.
I bet everybody's listening today. His
You've
house
got
is full of
shit
shit
in your house.
And I don't care how much money you make or you don't make, or you've been laid off or whatever. Your house is still full of shit.
Yeah.
Love
Okay,
to
we
buy.
have money
You love
to
to buy that shit.
We have money to buy shit.
Yeah.
As musicians, we should make our shit really tempting. That's the problem. It's not. We don't have good shit. We're making good music, but we're falling down on the rest of it.
Lou needs a pop figure. One of those pop Funkos. That's what he needs. The whole band. I can see the fro.
Yeah.
What's his face? Yeah.
So yeah, there you are. So stuff to give people, to bring people into an experience. That's what we have to be thinking about as musicians. And these young folks that are like, oh, you can just download it or whatever. I don't know if those artists that they're talking about are giving them, because maybe they're participating in an experience in another way you're not aware of. Like maybe they buy their merch.
No doubt, I'm sure.
Or they go see them live or something like that. But I think that there's even more ways that we can do stuff, and I'm not here to give you a business lesson or anything like that. You have to figure that out for yourself. But the reason I'm saying that is not to preach or to teach. What I'm saying is to show that, like, it looks shitty, but not. Is Spotify the Great Satan? Is the title of the podcast?
Yes, it is, Lou. This is Satan.
It's neither evil or good.
Yes,
It's whatever
it's
how you use
how
it.
you can utilize it.
It's in the way that you use it.
It's Satan for me because I can't understand it.
It's Satan to Lily.
I just want to get it off my phone.
So it's a nuanced topic, and I this is something that really kind of gets bugs me a bit, is the fact that we don't understand that, like, it's complicated.
Yeah. You just
Almost
gotta figure
everything
it
in the
out.
world, there's really no, like, because it's like anything else. It might be right. Like, Lily hates Rush. Kevin and I love Rush.
And there it
You
is.
know what I mean? You know,
Lou
does
and
that-
I both love Lily.
Does that
so
make-
there you go.
Does that,
It's
does
all
that,
how you look at it.
Does that make
Rush,
like
bad band?
Rush a bad band?
By no means. I
you
still
meant.
think they're a great band. I just don't like them.
Or does that mean that Kevin and I have bad taste? No, it doesn't.
No.
It just means.
I don't know. You've
Yeah.
got pretty good taste. Hey, Lou.
But anyways, real quick, there's one more thing I've been meaning to point out real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I'm just gonna leave you guys with this one last point about Spotify. Before you get, like, all upset about Spotify about what they're paying artists. It's a record label that negotiates with Spotify. Okay? And the record label takes something like 20 times, maybe, no, it's more than that. It's like 20 or 30 times more than Spotify takes. That's where the most of the money's going.
I thought it was
Right.
like 70%.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Wow.
It's,
Yeah.
it's huge. Spotify isn't, like, even getting that much.
Right.
You know, that's why, you see what I'm saying, guys? So it's like the record labels is what's really, like, that's the bigger, that's the middleman right there.
Maybe they're Satan.
So, you know, and, you know, the music business was in a shitter, you know, and Spotify is responsible as well for kind of reinvigorating the music business because it was lost. We didn't know how to centrally go to some
no
place
idea.
and listen to our music in the
Right.
21st century. You know, we didn't know what we were doing, and Spotify kind of solved that problem. Look, guys, it's this big tech, and big tech changes like constantly. Do you hear the CEO of Twitter resigned?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I
I
saw
mean,
that, yeah.
there's all kind of shakeups. I mean, like, you know, Spotify ain't gonna be just like MySpace, and Facebook is kind of going the same way now.
I
too.
know. I miss
You know,
MySpace.
so like these things are like, and there'll be a new thing.
Yeah,
So
right?
Spotify, I kind of looked at Spotify as a good stepping stone. Like, if this gets us out of, like, everybody sneaking around and downloading songs and, you know, and it not working and not having a good way to put it into your player or whatever, to, like, boom, we solved that problem. Okay, now it's time to, like, go to the next thing. You know, where's it going to? Somebody will take it, but I blame the music industry because the labels could have gotten involved early. What it should be like this. You know, there's Disney and Shudder and Netflix and Hulu and all that. There should be Atlantic, Sony,
Yeah.
et cetera,
Right.
Capricorn, whatever. And those are they have their own streaming service, and they partner with other ones and license each other's here and there to kind of bring you in.
That's
so
kind of
you're
a smart thing to
subscribed to Sony, you're subscribed to this one, you're subscribed to that one, and everybody, and then it's up to the labels to deal with the artists. The artists know that the labels are saving a gazillion dollars by not, you know, would not have to print so many CDs and
Right,
stuff
right,
like that.
right.
So like so I think something better would have happened that way. But all these years later, we still don't have a music business service yet.
Yeah,
Yet.
right?
But we do. We did get one, and it's pretty good. It's not perfect. All right.
Sure.
So and that's the way it is.
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
Oh my God, man! You guys, I love you guys.
You were so chatty.
Wow.
I love you
We
guys.
just let 'em go.
This is a topic that is that I love.
Yeah.
I love talking
You stayed
about
on-
it. I think
you
I
stayed
find
on
it
topic.
really.
You were focused.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I find it just it's something I've thought a lot about because we actually have a music marketing series here that you can find where we talked about stuff like this, and it's a clever app, and there's a lot of stuff that musicians can do with it. You got to use your imagination. You can't do it just you can't treat it just like, I don't know, like the radio, or like you can't treat it like an online record store or something. That's not really what it is. So wolfscustoms.online, check them out. Custom shit on your guitar or ukulele and no, not shit, but awesome artwork. Yeah. As well as rockrageradio.com. Go to LouLombardiMusic.com and LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com for all of our good stuff. I have not finished. I've only started the second episode of Get Back, the Beatles thing, so I haven't got too much farther into it. Nice. I've been watching like this stupid. I watched. Did you ever see Eastern Promises?
No.
That's really good. Viggo Mortensen and
I like Viggo.
And
already
Naomi Watts.
Oh,
that's really good. It's a Russian Russian gangster thing, and it's really dark and it's really good. So the Beatles did something today.
Who didn't know that?
Really? What'd they do?
He's not even gonna read it.
Okay.
that way.
All right. Bob Dylan, during sessions for the Free Will and Bob Dylan album, Bob Dylan recorded A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall and versions of Hero Blues, What You Gonna Do, Oxford Town, I Shall Be Free at Studio A, Columbia Recording Studios in New York City. So he was putting together like classics on this day in 1962. Good for him. Good for him. The Rolling Stones recorded 19th Nervous Breakdown and Mother's Little Helper at RCA's Hollywood Studios in Los Angeles on this day.
Wow.
The Beatles recorded on this day in 1966 Christmas and New Year's greetings for pirate radio stations, Radio Caroline and Radio London. Both stations were broadcasted from ships anchored off the British coastline. Fun. Stones on this day in 1968 released Beggar's Banquet. This day in 1969,
dude,
Led Zeppelin made their debut on the U.S. singles chart with Whole Lotta Love, which is the band was upset about because they took out that long jam in the middle. They
need that.
They took that out, to get it on the radio. But look, man. I don't look.
Yeah.
It's the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus,
right?
Not your rock and roll. It's mine. So I'm going to say. Okay. Right. I'm the man. I'm paying the cost to be the boss. All right. And I'm sorry. It totally works as a single. And if it got people who are listening to AM radio to maybe check out Led Zeppelin, I think it was totally worth it. Man, I'm not doing another. Oh my God, the Rolling Stones. Keith Richards,
Stones
today.
Like
on
the
this
new
day,
Beatles.
1975, Paul Simon went to #1 on the U.S. album charts with "Still Crazy After All These Years."
Yes.
Oh, there's a good one down there.
Sid Vicious on this day, 1978, smashed a glass in the face of Patti Smith's brother Todd Smith during a fight at a New York City club. Hurrah!
Huzzah! Oh, that's Sid Vicious. He's quite young.
I need to whet my whistle. This day, I like this band. This was one of those bands. I thought if they would have had a little bit more guitar in the band, like in their sound, I think that I think that
is it the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band?
No, it's Duran Duran.
Oh, okay.
Appeared live at the Apollo in Manchester, England. In this day in 1983, and I just thought that when they would rock it a little bit more, I thought I think if they would have I think they could have had a little bit more guitar, and they could have been one of those bands that could have been on B94 and DVE.
Right,
yeah, they were a little too poppy.
Yeah, they needed just a
little more guitar.
Oh my Lord! Oh! I love this song.
What?
If you're Europe, you play the final countdown. That's just what you do. On this day in 1986, Europe were at #1 on the UK singles chart with the final countdown.
Makes me so sad I was supposed to see them in 2020.
They became only the second Swedish act to score a UK #1. The song reached #1 in 25 countries, and the song's lyrics were inspired by David Bowie's song Space Oddity.
Who's the first one? That's right, ABBA. ABBA.
Abba Dabba Doo.
Abba gabba goo.
Hey, Lou.
What?
I thought about you the other day.
Not while you were jerking off, I hope.
Never mind.
I did hear him calling out your name.
Never mind.
American
Stop listening to your ceiling.
Can't help it.
American singer-songwriter Roy Orbison died on this day of a heart attack.
Oh!
At age, how old he was?
69.
52.
No!
We're older than
No,
Roy
we're
Orbison.
older than Roy Orbison.
That's kind of funny.
I love that guy.
We're getting T-shirts. I'm older than Roy Orbison.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not yet, so we're good.
Youngster. You're only 25, so yeah.
They tried to make a joke at work the other day that I was going to be 30 this year. I'm like,
Let them think. Well, that's a compliment to you. It's not a joke.
No, they lied.
Look at you. Aye.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Dave Brubeck, the jazz pianist.
penis.
Ho!
Born this day in 1920.
Yikes!
That's way.
That's a long-ass time ago.
He's
back
dead,
in-
right?
Well, God, I hope so.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm still here. I'm in my bathroom floor. Somebody help me.
I mean, Betty White's going to be 100 next month.
I don't
I'd
know who
date
this
her.
guy is, but I love his name. Fritz Fryer. From
Okay,
England-
here we go. Fritz. He's my next door neighbor. Yeah, Fritz. I love him.
From the pop group The Four Pennies, who
Oh.
had the 1964 UK #1 single Juliet.
I don't think I know that song.
Juliet, you little slut. I don't think that's the real words, though. I could be wrong.
Rick Buckler, drummer with The Jam, was born this day in 1955. On this day in 1956,
Uh-huh. What happened? What happened? Lou!
Going up the rails on a crazy train. Happy birthday to Randy Rhoads.
Randy Rhoads. God bless.
American heavy metal guitarist Randy Rhoads from Quiet Riot and later Ozzy Osbourne's band.
Quiet,
Quiet Riot. Why are we
Quiet
doing
Riot.
these noises? I don't know why you make me do the voices. You will give me the hot
This is
laugh.
why everybody stays to the end of the show.
Hot,
Yeah, that's right.
hot magma. A devoted student of classical guitar, speaking of hot magma,
Right.
and guitar teacher Rhodes combines
pull your hair
classical
out.
music influences with his own heavy metal
Don't
style.
do it.
He died in an aircraft crash while on tour with Osbourne in Florida on the 19th of March, 1982. So didn't live very long, but made a big
only a couple
impact.
months
And I learned that it was Peter Buck's birthday from REM today by listening to First Wave on Sirius.
Well, so there you go.
Yes, so Peter Buck.
Happy
Very cool
birthday,
guitar
Peter.
player. Very. This is. I would. If we ever do another thing about underrated musicians, this guy's definitely.
He's on
underrated.
your list.
People don't understand like what he was saying. He's a really good guitar player. Ben Watt from Everything But the Girl.
What?
What?
Bob. And I have no idea. Oh, Ulf Ekberg.
I know who that, I know who that is.
Oh,
Keyboards and vocals with the Swedish pop group Ace of Base.
Oh, okay.
Born this day in
There you
1970.
My friend Ava had such a huge crush on her.
I
Eva.
saw the sign.
Yeah, I remember Ava.
No, you don't. She was from Slovakia.
Oh,
She's my
wrong
age.
Ava.
She's my age. You don't know her.
Not
Ava
yet.
Braun.
No, Ava.
That's what Kevin's thinking of.
I was thinking Ava Braun.
Ava Vargova.
That's close enough. Close enough for government work.
Cordoba. All right.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
You okay, Lou?
That's not even what it is.
No, it's not.
Volare.
It's Volare.
I'm sorry.
But the rich Corinthian leather.
I know. I get excited about the rich Corinthian leather.
Yes, yes.
Lily, see, you didn't grow up with the rich Corinthian leather.
Thank
That
God
is
for
what your
that.
problem is.
Ricardo.
I'm good.
Neplan!
Hey guys, please check us out at Loudini, rockandrollcircus.com and LouLombardiMusic.com.
Yep.
Speaking of Lou Lombardi Music, the music you've been hearing in the background is all my music. You're listening to all original music being played for you guys in the background. So if you have any inquiries about that, just visit LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com or LouLombardiMusic.com. We are here every week putting out what we think is fun, entertaining
I thought you
music.
were going to say quality
conversation.
podcasting.
It's not quality podcasting
No,
at
but it
all.
is fun.
Look, I'm not a podcaster. I just play one on the internet.
There you go.
Okay? And let's go ahead, Lily. Why don't you go tell them about your
My
shenanigans?
show.
Yeah, what you got coming up?
Hotliks Lily 6, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to have a whole ton of new music on this week because I got about a bazillion emails. And let me think, is there anything going on this weekend? Yes, I have 2 shows. I have 2 Lily 6's Live Saturdays, the last 2 ever. Friday and Saturday at the Subalpine. And then I'm done.
Wow. Awesome. All right, and then Pittsburgh Kevin, any final thoughts?
I have 2 more shows at the Chuck's
We don't go to Erotica.
all-male review.
Go to Erotica.
All-male review in Blawnox.
Oh my God,
And,
nope.
You can pay me to put my clothes back on. I'm just saying. What was that?
That's what happens when you take your
Chuck's
clothes off.
all-male review. That's a good one.
This is just imagine like the zipper coming.
You
Take the
okay?
zipper down, it comes out, flops onto the ground, splashes. People be like, "What the fuck he got going on?"
Yikes. Yikes, everybody.
This is gonna be my new theme sound.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That just sounds
What do you mean new?
some way.
That's like you're getting ready. You're getting ready to go. Right? Okay, it's enough of that shit. Lily is not amused.
No, sir.
I'm sorry, Lily.
She's
I didn't mean
making
to
a face
offend
that
you.
scares me.
Didn't mean to offend you. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we will catch you all on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus podcast. Have a great one, guys. Catch you later.
I have to get a beverage.
Go get a beverage.
What's wrong?
Huh?
What are you doing?
He's watching porn.
It's Ario Speedwagon.
Ario Speedwagon.
It is Ario.
His friends at the show.
Thanks, Bill Thomas.
Better, George, get right on my John Thomas.
My John Thomas.
Oh, I could go put one on my John Thomas right now.
This is a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit.
Piece of shit. This is a piece of shit. Do you ever watch one of those movies where like they speak like that old fucked up English shit and you can't even understand what the fuck
Right.
it is?
I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay.
Dildo Speedwagon.
Dildos. Dildo speed.
It's like a dildo speeding.
Dildo Baggins.
Dildo daggins.
Dildo Baggins.
He is a fucking dildo.
Hey.
Oh, we're on the internet. Hold on.
Oh.
I just said Bilbo Baggins was a.
He's